Hey everybody, I'm going to go over the Colorado Springs news this week, what has been going on with the mayoral campaign, and what has been going on with the fires and the shootings!
Welcome back. We want to get back to that story on a Cheyenne Mountain neighborhood that is suing one of its main developers.
The Homeowners Association alleges Tralon Homes neglected and failed to maintain the Star Ranch neighborhood, which lies about 3 miles southwest of the Broadmoor area.
There it is.
Reporter Quinn Ritzdorf has this.
St. Aubin Homes, now known as Tralon Homes, was handed control of the Star Ranch neighborhood in 2019 as a developer. According to Colorado law, a developer of a neighborhood is in charge of the homeowners association until 75% of the lots are sold. When that happens, the developer has 60 days to hold an election for a new homeowner board. According to the lawsuit, this never happened, a violation of state law. And while Tralon was in charge of the neighborhood, the lawsuit claims the company neglected to repair roads, sidewalks, and gutters. It also says Tralon failed to install required landscaping, lighting, and signage throughout the neighborhood. The HOA claims Tralon broke its contract and ultimately created property damage for the community. When a new HOA took control in November 2020, it learned Tralon spent no more than $2,200 for street maintenance per year. A study by the HOA identified more than $430,000 of road, gutter, and sidewalk maintenance was needed. The lawsuit says Tralon hasn't fixed any of the defects, leaving the new HOA in a dire financial situation with insufficient funds to fix costly road repairs. The HOA is asking for a relief of damages as the lawsuit is currently in arbitration hearings.
This is now apparently a normal thing. Tralon Homes is a really popular builder, and I showed one of their models last week, and they used to be St. Aubin Homes, and then became Tralon Homes a couple of years back. So what's going on is that they are getting sued by the HOA for numerous homeowner warranty claims going unanswered, and also for not maintaining the infrastructure in the Star Ranch neighborhood. So yeah, Tralon Homes is not doing their job. They're not fulfilling the warranty promises that they made. And I have seen this now from Richmond American Homes and Century Homes now, as I've heard the same thing with both of them. And this is another article that came out a week ago where there's a homeowner with a warranty claim that got ignored for months with Tralon Homes. So this came out shortly before the HOA lawsuit against Tralon Homes. So very interesting if you're considering building a home with Tralon. Maybe not. So Tralon Homes builds in Lorson Ranch, Meridian Ranch, Peyton, Pueblo West. They're actively building in Pueblo West now. And Eaglebrook and Loveland. A few different warranty coverage problems. But down here, I was reading that even back when Tralon was St. Aubin in 2020, they were still getting dinged. They were still getting notices for problems. 4 lawsuits filed against St. Aubin Homes and Tralon Homes since 2020 in El Paso County, showing a pattern of warranty claims going unanswered. And that really doesn't bode well. So notice, if you buy a Tralon home, you are more likely to have some warranty issues, specifically nothing getting fixed after you close. Once you buy that house, that's it. You're kind of on your own.
In your school watch, staffing shortages are forcing local schools to get creative. District 49 in Colorado Springs is calling on parents to become substitute teachers as part of their Parent Star program. News 5's Lindsay Jensen shows us why one mom wanted to step up.
I mean, okay, so I saw this morning and I went, what is going on? We have a D11 teacher staff shortage, just all teacher and staff shortage in D11 in general. And I'm sure in all the school districts, it's not just that one, but that was the one that was in the news most recently. And now this is D49 saying, hey, we need some parents to be volunteers for the school, basically be teacher assistants. And from reading the article, it doesn't look like they really need to have necessarily a a firm teaching grasp. It's just being an extra person in there. And so this just plays into my thinking that uh, the education system in America is headed toward daycare as opposed to actual teaching. And it's just simply because there's not enough people to be teachers or who want to be teachers or who are going to get paid enough to be teachers. And so if the pay is not there, then you can't possibly do it. So as it depends on how much care, effort, money, time that we want to put into our education system, and into the people who work in the education system in order to get good education. So this clearly tells me that D49 does not have enough funding or is not using enough the funding in the right way to pay teachers, and not necessarily D49, but just schools all over Colorado. And so this is what I've seen is just there all over the country. We've got shortages. So people got to get paid more. That It's not everything got more expensive, yes, but wages have not gone up. So people need to get paid more for what they do in all professions, including in teachers, because this is what we see now is that there's a shortage. And to add to schools, so we're seeing the Democrats in Colorado are trying to pass some gun control measures after the Club Q shooting that we had. And so you've got it's not happening though, or something. While Democrats hold a 9-4 majority on the committee, some have voiced concerns over the bill's constitutionality and breadth. They want to do a sweeping ban on semi-automatic firearms. Even Democratic-controlled state houses don't have free rein on overhauling laws rooted deep in American culture. So, Representative Mike Lynch, Republican House Minority Leader, says, I think we've discovered the edge and the limit of how progressive this state wants to be. I suppose so. In a potentially major concession to other Democrats, Epps said the bill will likely be significantly pared back to effectively ban bump stocks, a gun attachment that increases the rate of fire and which is already federally prohibited. Over 500 people signed up to testify at the proposal's first hearing, the vast majority in opposition to the ban, and tensions rose at times. Okay, so it sounds like people don't want to get rid of their guns. Austin Hine of the National Association for Gun Rights argued that that none of the gun control bills will do anything to address the root cause of the mental health, overly medicated children in fatherless homes and gun-free zones that are plaguing our state. Particularly the semi-automatic ban, Hine added, which includes a number of pistols and shotguns, will leave law-abiding citizens defenseless to the alarming rise of violent crime caused by the progressive criminal justice reform. Well, okay. There you have it. The proposal in Colorado has revealed divides among Democrats and fomented tension between the urban and rural parts of the state. Colorado, Jared Polis has demurred when asked questions about the ban. Yeah, they don't want to talk about it. There it is. There's the quote. A decade ago, Colorado voters ousted 2 state lawmakers in first-ever recall elections that came in reaction to the Democrats' support for tougher gun laws in the aftermath of the Aurora Theater shooting. That tells you where a lot of Colorado politics lied a decade ago, was that, no, they didn't want to, they said, no, you can't take our guns. And now we're trying this again. We're trying to really limit what people can do with guns and what kind of guns people can get, and still having a problem getting that passed through.
About a drive-by shooting that left one woman injured and others near the scene shaken up. It happened yesterday morning on Carmel Drive near Circle and Monterey Road. Police say there were about 20 to 25 shots fired near the Riverbend apartment complex. 11 News reporter Caitlin Quisenberry is live in front of the Colorado Springs Police Department. Caitlin, you spoke with neighbors at the complex who say this is actually a common occurrence.
Okay.
Grace, during the interview, every time a car passed by, they would all look up anxiously to see if it was one of the cars involved in Saturday's drive-by shooting.
Oh my God.
Around 2 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, Riverbend residents were woken up to the sound of gunshots. Some even leapt into an all-familiar plan of action.
I jumped up and tore my AC out of my window and shut my window immediately because this isn't the first time this has happened in the last 3 years that I've lived here.
In surveillance video shown here, you can see the cars associated with Saturday's shooting. Residents tell me the cars
had no
circled the
idea
block
this kind of
not
stuff was
once
going
but
on.
twice in one night before the shooting.
Oh.
We called an hour before the shooting stating, hey, that car's back.
It's scary because you don't know what a stray bullet will do to anybody.
One resident told me he lives right next door to the woman who was shot and was the first on scene to help stop the bleeding.
There's a gunshot in every room of my apartment. I never dealt with anything like that before.
The group of residents say they have reached out to police several times but haven't heard back. The police department says they will have no comment due to the ongoing investigation. But all residents I spoke with tell me they are done with this side of town.
I'm moving. I'm leaving Colorado Springs for good.
Crime should be taken more serious. That's it.
During the interview, some of the neighbors were even wearing what they say were bulletproof vests. Police are still looking for the suspects. If you have any information, you can call.
Wow. That's insane.
A police standoff in Colorado Springs has
This was
ended
even more
peacefully,
nuts.
but there was nothing standard about this one.
Officers arrived to find something we don't often see, a building booby-trapped to harm anyone trying to get inside. Good evening, I'm Heather Skoll.
And I'm Bart Bedsole.
This
Colorado
homeless
Springs police
dude
officers were met with booby
just
traps in downtown today after
blocks
a man
off
refused to leave
a vacant
building.
building.
The standoff spanned hours as multiple agencies attempted to get the man out. Colorado Springs utilities even had to shut down power to the area. KRDO News Channel 13's Annabelle Childers
It's like a
is live
movie.
at that building after watching the standoff unfold. Annabelle?
Yeah, Bart, Heather, Springs police actually left the door open,
Electrical
so I want to
booby
immediately show you
traps.
guys what it looks like inside of here. This is where police believe that suspect was living, and it's also the place he rigged with electrical traps. You can see one of those red wires
Like Home Alone.
still sitting there on the floor.
What?
For hours, a standoff between this man and Colorado Springs police captured the attention of an entire downtown block. Some onlookers pulling out their phones to document it for themselves.
Oh
as
yeah, put it on
police lined the
TikTok.
sidewalk and a crossing guard directed traffic on the street.
Wow.
Police say the altercation started in the morning with the Colorado Springs
That you
Fire
just
Department
spit?
responding to
Wait,
a
wait.
fire department with the Colorado altercation started in the morning with the
Oh my
Colorado
God.
Police say the altercation started in the morning with the Colorado.
Oh my God.
Police say the altercation started in the morning with the
Oh my
Colorado.
God.
Police say the altercation started in the morning with the
Oh
Colorado.
my
The
God.
altercation started in the
Dude,
morning.
that's
with
gross. Why would you
altercation
do
started
that?
in the morning with the Colorado Springs Fire Department responding to a fire here.
They encountered a male subject to the building who
Do you not one of your dudes
told them not to
spit?
get water on his stuff.
That's when police got involved.
The original call was around 12:50.
But when they attempted to go inside, they realized
They might get electrocuted. Electrical wire of some kind to outlets and then attach it to metal objects, whether it's handrails or whatever, in an effort to try
Yeah,
and
that's
keep
some
people
saw
out.
stuff.
Colorado Springs utilities shut down the power to the area to ensure all officers stayed safe, and they did. That suspect eventually surrendering himself to police. And as of now, we don't know the identity of that man that was arrested, but Colorado Springs police said earlier that they plan to charge him criminally. Reporting live in downtown Colorado Springs.
Well, I mean,
Annabelle
yeah,
Childers,
it sounds like
KRDO,
he was
News
pretty-
Channel 13. Wow.
He's pretty messed
The
up
police
doing
stand-
some. What was the whole point of that? Just to why? He barricaded himself inside the building. Why? Just for the fun of it? That's the story. It was just for the fun of it. And breaking news, the 450 home subdivision that was proposed near Black Forest has been finally approved, or it has their final approval. So, the El Paso County Commissioners approved this sketch after months of reworking in a response to pushback from neighbors concerned over traffic, water supply, and threats to their rural lifestyle. So, similar to that 2424 Garden of the Gods project development that did not go through and that ended up getting, it's going to be turned into an industrial space for tech job. So with that particular location, the residents had concern over traffic, specifically over fire evacuation. It took 5 hours to evacuate everybody from that neighborhood during the Waldo Canyon fire in 2012. So to add another 300 or 400 units of people per, however many people per unit is going to add that much more to the traffic. And so they were able to successfully get that shot down. But this one gets approved. Commissioners voted 4-1 in favor of approving the Janes property sketch plan, which details land designation for the single-family residential lots, commercial use, and open space on 142 acres southwest of the intersection of Poco and Volmer roads. So on the left here, you'll see that Jane's property sketch. Actually, if we just click on it, we can get a bigger picture of what that looks like. Those in favor praised both residents for expressing opposition and developer Classic Homes for better accommodating them during the preliminary design process. I grew up in a rural area and I watched areas directly around my family's property change very drastically, Commissioner Carrie Geithner said. I'm not unsympathetic to the concerns around this, but in this case, though the plan is not perfect, there has been a considerable effort to minimize those effects. The plan was first denied by the Planning Commission in February on the basis of the proposed density on the lot's perimeter did not integrate enough with the character of existing 5-acre and 2.5-acre rural residential lots to the north and west. Commissioner Longinos Gonzalez voted against approval, saying he had expected the developer to reduce the 450 home number and inner density from its original plan. I did think the plan was going to come back as slightly less dense, he said. Oh, okay, so he was the one vote against. And he was actually one of the people voting for, running for mayor. So, yeah, I recognize his name. Okay, so this got passed. The commissioners, I'd already previously covered this in another video, and it's been covered by news articles. I didn't come up with it. The county commissioners, they're all have received some sort of funding from Classic Homes. So you can argue that they do have a slant, or they do have somebody that they need to make happy. At the same time, I don't know what was this piece of land going to be used for anyway. I wasn't involved in any of this, so I don't really know all the details of this other than it's happened. There's another spot here that's going to have more homes. And people who have lived in Black Forest for a while and are used to the rural lifestyle, having the suburbs coming slowly invading their house and their neighborhood is not something that they're happy with. And so understandably, yeah, your whole landscape is changing. And at the same time, there's people that need housing. So, who really gets to pick? You've also got water restrictions coming back. Starting May 1st, you're not going to be able to water your lawn more than 3 days a week. So that 3-day-a-week rule is enforced again starting May 1st. And I looked up the fine. It's a $100 fine if you, it's on here, but it's a $100 fine if you break it, if you water more than that. And if you have sod or if you have newly planted grass, you can water more, but you have to apply for an establishment permit. Customers who violate the rules may be fined $100. So just be aware of that. You do have to be water conscientious. And here you've got Nooks, which is another job provider, a company that offers classified workspaces and networks for businesses and governmental partners. Expands to Colorado Springs, brings 35 jobs. They're going to be high-paying jobs. bringing an estimated $50 million over 10 years in capital building improvements to Colorado Springs, $33 million of which is expected to be invested over the next 4 years. So great for the community, says others. Provide high quality of life to many, many people working in the aerospace and defense industries and their families. So more jobs continue coming to Colorado Springs. And in other news, Southwest flights delayed out of Colorado Springs Airport after nationwide grounding. So, again, in other news, Southwest continues to suck, and maybe at some point in the future they will stop sucking. And now the city of Colorado Springs is countersuing the the company that did the construction work to build the Pikes Peak Summit. So the construction company was originally suing the city, saying, "Hey, you didn't pay us for our work," and now the city is countersuing and saying, "Well, your work was." GE Johnson, which is based in Colorado Springs and also built its U.S. Olympic Committee headquarters, was paid $60 million to bulldoze a summit house on Pikes Peak and create the 38,000 square foot summit complex at an elevation of 14,115 feet. After 3 years of work, the complex opened in 2021 to much praise and fanfare. Well, that's great. And now GE Johnson and Colorado Springs have lobbed accusations back and forth. So I really don't know who's to blame, who did what. They're both blaming each other for stuff. And so the summit, that's great. You can go visit it. So there's another builder that's apparently sucking at their job. And this one threw me for a loop because I just saw like, okay, they're having armed security guards at every school in Widefield D3 now.
The comfort this new security brings.
But they got a grant. So they got a huge,
the sounds
over $1 million
of
grant.
For students in Widefield School District 3, there now is someone always watching over them. District leaders say the addition of armed security guards brings an extra layer of protection to students and faculty.
We went from 6 armed security to 19 armed security in a very short period of time, but school safety is very much a priority for us in our school district, and that's something that our board felt very strongly about.
There have been 14 reported school shootings across the country this year, including one in Denver at East High School. But the District 3 School Board recognized the need for more security when they received the SAFER grant before the school year started.
The school board, with the current climate and culture that we have in the country, the school board really made it a priority to make sure that our students and staff are safe.
Each new hire goes through significant training.
The interview process has been significant with getting the right personnel on board. There are required trainings that all of the personnel have to go through.
It doesn't just ease the concerns for those inside the building, but for parents dropping off their children.
Anytime you can add an additional person to your team, an additional resource.
That's cool. I would have thought initially, having armed security guards would have freaked the kids out, but if it's making everybody feel safe and furthermore providing safety, that's cool they got that grant then.
First at 10, an update to an 11 breaking news alert. And take a look at your screen at this video. This is just some of the aftermath of a fire at an iconic attraction in southern Colorado. A fire broke out early this morning at the Colorado Gators Reptile Park.
It's so hard to see. Close to 100 animals died, including
wow.
snakes, lizards, tortoises, birds, and cats.
Oh, wow.
Tonight, we're hearing from the general manager, who's the owner's son. 11 News anchor Grace Kramer is joining us in studio. Grace, the reptile park is near the sand dunes.
Yeah.
Adam, Lindsay, many people have either visited this park or at least have heard of it. I remember visiting this park with my family when I was a kid. The owner's son say this morning's fire is a tragedy.
I've been to the sand dunes, but not to the alligator farm.
Completely. Knowing especially what's going on inside.
This is all that's left after a fire early this morning that tore down a reptile barn. Pictures from the Colorado Gators Reptile Park shows just how intense the flames were.
Went in, crawling on my hands and knees, tried to get to a fire extinguisher and was not able to see or breathe, so I got out.
No staff were injured, but few animals made it out alive.
Managed to get a caiman lizard out, 5 or 6 tortoises, as well as 3 caimans.
The park says all of the alligators and crocodiles outside of the building are safe. So are the fish and sharks. The Mosca Hooper.
Wait, sharks too? Oh my God. Yeah. There's one more fire to add on to the list of fires we have had this month. I'm reading an article right now on the homeless problem in Colorado Springs and things that a city is doing to work with that. So since Suthers came in, he's tried to do with he's worked toward having 1,000 new housing units in the city per year. Having talked to a lot of mayors, I think it's the only approach to take. He's got a tough love method of managing the homeless population, the visible presence of whom has been a top complaint of residents for years. Having talked to a lot of mayors, I think it's the only approach to take. Encourage people to seek shelter. Here are the services available. Here's substance abuse treatment. Here's how to move into transitional and permanent supportive housing, Suthers said. We want to help anybody who wants help in terms of shelter and services. The model works, he said, since Colorado Springs has reduced its population of chronically homeless people, those who live on the streets for extended time, by nearly half over the past 5 years. So I'd say that's good. Concurrently, in 2018, Suthers set up a 5-year plan to add an average of 1,000 affordable housing units each year through construction, preservation, or creation of more housing opportunities. And then further down here, they mention Grecchio Housing, and they manage 652 affordable units across 26 properties, and that's here in Colorado Springs. That tops 1,690 people. A couple of years ago, Grecchio had 690 people on its active waiting list. This tells me we need to continue and redouble our efforts, adding that personal income also needs to keep pace with cost of living and inflation so that people can move up from needing affordable housing. City is short 12,000 units of workforce housing for lower wage earners, according to an estimate given at a February 28th candidates forum for what had been 12 mayoral hopefuls. That's right, we've got Yemi and Wayne. This was about a week ago at the North Creek fire, and that's south of Pueblo, so that got contained, I believe. I think. Let's look it up. Fully contained after burning for 3 days. So, yep, there's another fire. And here you got multiple grass fires, southeast Colorado Springs by I-25. Those got put out.
While in Los Animas County, fire crews are making gradual progress on the Trujillo Creek fire.
There's another one.
In the town of Aguilar. It's nearly 120 acres and about 10% contained.
And that was a week ago. So now it's like 90% contained. So it's mostly done now. But I mean, yep, there's one more. And here's Rampart Fire, so holding at 20 acres.
Rampart Fire near Woodland Park.
That was 9 days ago. So I don't think that got to more than 20 acres.
The fire broke out early this afternoon on a ridge southeast of town. It is in El Paso County, but just barely right along that northern edge of the Waldo Canyon burn scar. KRDO News Channel 13 Spencer Swisher reports from that area, and he says that there is some dispersed camping in that very area tonight.
Oh.
You can tell it wasn't clouds because there's a little bit of a yellowish, brownish tinge to it.
With smoke plumes visible from as far north as Briargate, concern quickly set in Tuesday afternoon.
Right away, I called my wife and said, have you seen anything on the news or heard anything?
A fire burning in the area of the Waldo Canyon burn scar. And once commanders were able to pin down its location to Rampart
How's
Range
burning
Road,
in the scar? How's there anything growing?
Went on the attack.
We have a lot of suppression efforts on it. We have 2 single-engine aircrafts dropping water, and they are loading and returning as well.
After all, it's a spot that has seen catastrophic wildfire before.
If you go down this Rampart Range Road a little further, you can still see burned areas from back in the Waldo Canyon fire.
By about 6 o'clock, though, the smoke plume had become a milky haze.
It is a good sign. We have a lot of resources on it.
And while crews were able to keep this one from growing out of hand, could this be another sign of a rough spring and summer?
And this is another set of home expansions, a 750 plus home expansion in northern El Paso County approved. Water supply studied. Oh, did they actually study it? Okay. So this is Sterling Ranch, which is on the northeast side of Colorado Springs. So like right here, I'll zoom out in here, just these little dots right here. So here's Colorado Springs, here's Powers, here's I-25. I don't know if you can actually see my cursor, but so here's Powers here, and then Woodman, east-west, and then you'll have the Northwest Black Forest Road here, and then Volmer Road right here. So that little area there, which is getting close to the Black Forest area. Yeah. What is that little creek? You see that little creek coming down? That's not Cottonwood Creek. It's a different one. What is that? Sand Creek. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, this is another 750 homes that are going to get built there. I don't think anybody had a problem with it. Again, the El Paso, well, I don't know if it was the Board of Commissioners, it was the Planning Commission. I'm not sure what the exact difference is. But the recommendations will be forwarded to the El Paso County Board of Commissioners for final approval at a future meeting. So this gets passed here, and then it has to go to the commissioners, and I'm assuming that will also get passed. And then plans for an apartment complex near Colorado Springs off Mark Shuffle. Well, that's in, I consider that to be Colorado Springs. Yeah, Mark Shuffle and Volmer area. That's that same, yeah, we were just looking at it, like this whole area here. Yeah, there's going to be some apartments there. Okay. How many? 23 acres? Like, how many apartments is it going to be? Currently zoned for 5-acre lots. Will now be poised to support a maximum of 30 dwelling units per acre. Okay, can I math? That's like 600 homes. Okay, cool. County commissioners voted 5-0 in favor of rezoning. Yeah, and I don't know if anybody has a problem with this getting built here. But yeah, stuff's getting built, continues to get built. And the final thing that I wanted to talk about, the big thing that really hasn't been covered yet, is Wayne Williams versus Yemi Mobolade, and these are the two options for the mayor, for the future mayor of Colorado Springs that we have. And so the only news, because they're not going to be debating for another 3 days. So until that debate happens, you likely already know what their stances are anyway, but just to give you a refresher, they are going to be talking again on the 24th. So this article here, apparently Wayne's campaign ad is now painting Yemi as a liberal. So he's given himself an identity of a conservative. He gave me an identity I never claimed, Mobolade said. A new digital ad from Colorado Springs mayoral candidate Wayne Williams' campaign hit social media this week, presenting him as the conservative Republican candidate Colorado Springs should choose over his liberal opponent in the nonpartisan race, Yemi Mobolade. The ad posits Mobolade as a more left-wing candidate in the city's mayoral runoff election scheduled for May 16th, accusing him of supporting socialism and possibly looking to overturn a failed collective bargaining bid voters rejected in 2019. Right away, I'm going to say, what are we defining as socialism here? Because I've heard a lot of people that say they're conservative use that word and say, do you believe in socialism? And I'm like, what exactly does that mean? Because I don't know that what you think it means and what other people think it means, So there's the ad. You can see what that looks like, I guess, on social media. So he's the liberal. Oh no, oh my God, how awful that we would have a liberal. So it says this positioning is desperation. That's all it is, Mobolade said Thursday. The candidate has said throughout his campaign he is neither a Democrat nor a Republican. I've been clear from day one that I'm putting Colorado Springs ahead of party politics. I'm putting our quality of life ahead of party politics. I'm putting our families ahead of fear-mongering. He's given himself an identity of a conservative. He gave me an identity I never claimed. All right. So apparently Wayne is putting public safety, fiscal responsibility, and affordability first. But, oh my God, Yemi is going to use your tax dollars to engineer equitable outcomes. Engineering outcomes sounds exactly like socialism. You notice how there wasn't any actual information about anything? There was just a broad sweep of wild speculation about what that Yemi actually meant when he said equitable outcomes. I mean, I'm all for hearing pros and cons, but I'm just okay, give me something specific then. If you saying that he's a socialist, what exactly does that mean? And what's an example where there's something bad is going to happen if we vote for Yemi versus Wayne? Because I'm not really seeing that. When he is at this is Mobolade. When he is asked whether every worker, regardless of the type of workplace, has the right to organize and collectively bargain, Mobolade answers yes, it's part of our constitutional right. Williams's ad criticizes Mobolade's responses respectively as sounding exactly like socialism and costing taxpayers more money for fewer services, possibly overturning the failed initiative the voters just defeated. I automatically don't like that either. Possibly overturning. Again, there's a speculatory jab in here, and the way that I like to vote and think about stuff is very deeply, and I like to analyze everything, and I like to know everything, and I don't really enjoy the sweeping generalizations or straw man arguments of, oh, my opponent is this or that, or he's going to do this or that for you. And I guess that, I mean, is that what you have to do politically for your ad? I mean, Yemi, we'll see if Yemi has an ad, if he does an attack campaign, a smear campaign. I'm thinking like Parks and Rec now. Williams says, I am not in favor of government engineering outcomes in the private sector. I am not in favor of overturning the people's vote against collective bargaining. There are some differences in those views. Okay. Mobolade said he does not propose collective bargaining for all city employees, but he does support the constitutional right of the city's law enforcement officers and firefighters to organize. Yeah. He said he answered the way he did on equitable outcomes because he believes the government's role is to promote equality. All I want to do is level the playing field and not continue the disparities we see in our community, Mobolade said. Oh, okay. So Mobolade this week earned an endorsement from outgoing Colorado Springs City Council President Tom Strand. He was one of the 12 people that ran for mayor. So Tom, now that he's not in anymore, it looks to be supporting Yemi. That's cool. He says Yemi is a proven leader with a wealth of experience in the business, nonprofit, and government sectors, and someone I trust to continue championing our public safety professionals. With Yemi, we can have confidence in a mayor who will not only put our families first, but has the proven leadership to create a better future for our neighborhoods, Strand said in a news release issued by Mobolade's campaign this week. Oh, that's cool. And, well, of course, they got to say something about Wayne now. Williams, who has been endorsed by outgoing Mayor John Suthers and the Colorado Springs Professional Firefighters Local 5, among others, announced this week his campaign hired Jody Ritchie to serve as his field director. Ritchie has previously worked as campaign manager for Sally Clark. Campaign manager is back to Parks and Rec, who was a close third in the mayoral race April 4th. Okay, so he hired somebody that worked for Sally Clark because she's out too. Well, I'm really excited to see the debate between Yemi and Wayne coming up. I want to see what they both have to say. It was Longinos Gonzalez who was doing the attacks against Wayne. So anytime I got the spam text, if you got the same spam texts on, Wayne bought a cowboy suit with your taxpayer dollars, that was Longinos Gonzalez. Because he was the one that, after it was the first interview that they'd done with all the candidates, and they said, you got to be nice, don't attack anybody in your questions. And he was the only one that did it anyway. And he just kept coming back to that cowboy suit, and which just funny to me. But so nobody else did anything like that. Nobody attacked anybody else. Everybody was pretty cool about just, saying what they were going to do. So this is the first I have seen of that happening again since then. So Wayne's got to do something to differentiate himself from Yemi. And my guess is that, and I've heard this from a few people, is that the conservative vote got divided between several different people, Wayne, Sally, and whoever else. And now that it's just all on Wayne versus Yemi, there's the feeling that the conservatives are all going to just pool forward and focus on Wayne and then get him the votes. So we'll see, because I feel like it's a good mix of conservatives and liberals in the city here. So I feel like they both have a really good shot at I mean, with voter turnout was 37% for this election. So now that we have a runoff, I'm assuming, and that's what everybody else is saying, is that the voter turnout is going to increase because of that. Because now instead of 12 people, it's 2. And now, it's really close as to, who could win and be the next mayor. That's all I've got for you. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, please hit the like button. And if you'd like to see more of this kind of content, hit subscribe. I am a real estate agent in the state of Colorado. If you need help buying or selling a house in the Colorado Springs area, please message me and I'd be happy to help you. Thank you so much.